Stay in touch with us on Facebook and Instagram at Unique Yet Connected. You are now listening to episode 81 of Unique Yet Connected podcast. The theme for this episode is the name that disappeared when the lineage gets lost in silence.
What happens when a name vanishes from the family line, not by death, but by silence? And what does it cost when a grandmother can't speak to her grandchild, not because she's unwilling, but because language and lineage have been lost in translation? In this episode, we ask, what is the weight of a name that was never spoken again?
Welcome to Unique Yet Connected. I'm Nolitha Fendon Itolokazi, the explorer of the unseen, the unheard, and the untold, the space holder, seeker, and sacred witness in the work of systemic family constellations. Over to you, Kings.
Thank you, Noli. Hello, Nick, dear listeners and co-editors. This is where we explore the hidden patterns that shape our lives. I am Kinga, facilitator and guide through the field, where unseen truths rise to the surface. Together we walk the invisible terrain of the family soul. Where the wisdom speaks is when the system reveals itself.
Thank you for joining our movement of translating this wisdom of systemic family constellations into a practical language that all of us can easily understand and, most importantly, implement in our daily lives. Today's episode is one of lost names, lost language, and how the body remembers what the mouth cannot say. When she came into the session, she couldn't describe what she was looking for in words, just a heaviness, a stuckness between generations.
She spoke about her child who had a grandmother they adored but couldn't speak to. She spoke about her child who had a grandmother they adored but couldn't speak to. They didn't share a language. Not just coarser and polished, deeper than that spiritual language was missing.
So we decided to map this with the help of systemic family constellations. What the different elements of the situation had to say to us. The answer was, go back.
What we saw was a man who vanished. The biological father of her grandmother was a prisoner of war.
Assumed dead. The family even held a funeral. Can you imagine that? Mourning someone who was still breathing.
From thousands of kilometers away, he walked home. But when he arrived, his wife had remarried. His daughter had a new father, and she had taken his name.
You are still listening to episode 81. The theme is the name that disappeared when lineage gets lost in silence. Remember, when you comment, ask questions, like, and share our content and links, you help us grow and change lives together. Like us on Facebook and on Instagram. With the best intentions, the secret was kept. The child grew up calling another man dad. And the truth? The bloodline went underground.
And so the biological father, the one whose line carried the history, became invisible. He had been erased, not out of malice, but assumed protection.
But the body remembers. When the grandmother applied for her marriage certificate, she discovered a name she had never seen before, a name on the birth certificate, a name that did not match the story she was told.
The shock was deep, the grief was unprocessed, and by taking her husband's name, the biological family name was lost forever. Also, it seemed.
And here, this is where the pattern between child and grandmother not understanding each other was created. They share love, but not language. One lives in the present, the other stuck in a timeline where the truth was never spoken.
The soul of a child can't find rest in a story that isn't whole, because what we silence in one generation shows up in another, sometimes as an illness, sometimes as a disconnection, sometimes as lost words. The healing movement started when in the constellations we brought in the biological great-grandfather. We invited him back into the family soul.
It wasn't about blaming anyone. It was about belonging.
We placed him behind her energetically, and suddenly the tenseness in her shoulders dropped. There was support. There was a root. There was a name.
Her family tree wasn't broken. It was just buried. Maybe you felt it too. A missing piece, a lost story, a silence in your grandmother's eyes that your heart couldn't explain.
What would happen if you invited the forgotten ones back in? Not to stir up guilt, but to remember where you come from. Because every branch needs a root, and every child needs a name to stand on.
If this story stirred something in you, sit with it, journal, breathe, ask your elders, and come back in 2 weeks because the field knows.
Thank you for your contribution in helping us to be chosen into the top 10 South Africa Family Podcasts by FeedSpot. Join our monthly virtual connection circle every first Tuesday evening of the month. To receive your link, subscribe on our website www.uniqueyetconnected.com or check for updates on our socials at Unique Yet Connected.
In the next episode, we still share with you how the field reveals the roots, the repetition, and the release.
And along the way, we will guide you in understanding how this work can support your own healing, because the field doesn't just know my story, it knows yours too.
So take a deep breath and join us as we share with you what the field knows.
Because sometimes what you are searching for isn't outside of you. It is waiting quietly in the field for you to remember. If you feel like you are experiencing limiting patterns or relationship issues and would like to have an individual session, book a family constellation session with us on our website www.uniqueyetconnected.com or on our socials, Facebook or Instagram. Our handle on both platforms is @UniqueYetConnected.
A big thank you to you for listening to our episode, and to Nick Mons from That Guy Productions for making us sound fabulous and on point. Episode 82 is in 2 weeks' time from now. Tune in on the 19th of October 2025 from 10 a.m. South African Standard Time. For links and updates, stay tuned to our Facebook and Instagram pages @Unique Yet Connected. Unique spelled YOUNIQUE. Stay unique, stay connected, and remember, you are one of a kind, and we can only create a really meaningful podcast together. Siyabulela, Kosonom.
Thank you. Siyabulela, kusanam.